Now, a Hutch's weather update with Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson, brought to you by Robert Gibb and Sons.
Hello, everybody. Meteorologist Hutch Johnson joining you. We have an active tornado warning that was just issued by the National Weather Service office in Grand Forks, North Dakota. This is for a tornado-warned storm that is making its way through northern portions of Norman County, north of Ada, and into Polk County right now. It's a radar-detected storm right now. These are a developing line of storms. Let's get you to the latest. Drop me a question if you have it. Line of thunderstorms developing from the Fargo area, north into northwest Minnesota. Here is a latest look. Now, we're going to start with a look at the latest from the National Weather Service. The tornado warning is for northern parts of Norman and Polk County until 1 o'clock. It's moving northeast at 35 miles per hour. It was located 38 miles north of Fargo, near Hadler or over Hadler. Let's go ahead and take a look at this storm on the radar with the latest. Again, you'll want to seek shelter in an interior room at the lowest floor possible so that basements are best. Get out of things like mobile homes, campers, and the like in southern parts of Polk County. If you are in Beltrami, if you are infertile, this storm is on its way towards you. And please go ahead and share this information, share the scene with folks that you do not know. Honestly, the risk of tornadoes I felt would be pretty low today, but there is definitely a little spin with this storm, and we'll show that to you now. Firstly, there is a look at the rotating storm and the rotating part of the storm down here. It's not far from Lockhart. It's crossing right over Highway 9, south of Beltrami. What about Crookston? It's south of Crookston and not heading towards Crookston. You are not in the warning here, but fertile Beltrami and most of northern portions of Norman County. It does include the city of Ada. So if you are in Ada and points north towards the Polk County border, and in Polk County, all of central Polk County, including Mentor, this is a rotating thunderstorm. It's moving northeast. And again, as the National Weather Service folks said here, that movement is 35 miles per hour. So let's go ahead and identify exactly where the rotation is now on the Doppler radar. And we can see some greens next to the reds here with regards to this system. And that's where the rotation is being picked up, even though it looks to be very faint. If you have any kind of reports, share them here, and then go ahead and share the broadcast. I am on YouTube Live right now, and I am also here on Facebook Live right now so that people have a chance to get this information. Here is a look at some greens and reds next to each other, but that's not really the spin we're looking for. It's right here, this area just north of Ada. So the storm is very close to Ada with its rotation right here near Hadler or over Hadler. And if I take the pencil here, you got motion away from the radar over Hadler and motion toward the radar over the Hadler area. Here is a look then. We do have some DOT cameras up in that area. I do want to take a look at the storm, but first, with now some identification with the location, this is going to be moving almost directly towards or directly in the direction of Fertile. So if you're between Beltrami and Fertile, you should be seeking shelter in that interior room. You're first going to hear rumbles of thunder and rain. What's moving into Beltrami right now is not the tornadic part of the storm. That's located just to the south near Hadler. Brandy, thank you so much. I appreciate that you tuned to Hutch for severe weather. We're going to cover this until the risk is gone, and we'll track it for you right now. So as the crow flies with the latest scan that's just coming in, it's over the Hadler area. It is, as the crow flies, about 14 miles to the southwest of Fertile, moving in your direction. And from the Mentor area, it is 26 miles to the southwest of your direction. Erskine, about the same, about 28 to 29 miles southwest of your location. McIntosh, you'd be in the path of this as well. Does Thief River Falls look like? Zachary, I'm going to go cover those storms here momentarily. Right now, we're going to analyze the movement of this tornado-warned storm, and the Doppler indicated tornado is here, moving northeast. I'm going to expedite it a little bit, moving it at about 38 or 39 miles per hour, just to make sure you have enough time to prepare. If you're home alone, kids, I know school's out in many of these communities. Here's what you need to know. Please share with your friends. We have a tornado moving. It's north of Ada. Ada, you should be in your safe spot right now. It's moving across the Highway 9 corridor. The rotation, the Doppler indicated rotation is right here. It will be moving towards Fertile in 22 minutes. So if you take a look at the time here, that means by boom, 1248 to 1250, the storm will be over the fertile area with its rotation. There is some other areas of some weak shear with this storm system as well. So if you are anywhere in this red county box, and just so you can have a reference to it, it's moving its way towards Mentor. It will be there in 42 minutes from right now. So 1225 plus the 40 minutes or so will be right at the 1 o'clock time frame. Windy and Ada and raining very hard. Ricky, thank you for your report. So again, if you are in this area, it is time to seek shelter. This is a warning. A warning means that a tornado is imminent. We have a tightly rotating storm. It does not mean one has been sighted right now. I do have my link to the National Weather Service forecast office here, and we're taking a look at that. They are highlighting northwest Minnesota here as being in an area of enhanced spin. So again, this is where we'll have the best chance at seeing that possibility of some spinning storms right here. And that is indeed showing some spin right here, and it's continuing. So let me go ahead and take a look at that. Here is a quick look at the area that this is over right now. It's basically just crossing that, is that Highway 1 out towards Gary? County Road 19. County Road 19, basically between the Anthony area and Gary, is where it's crossing over right now. In Gary, you are not in the warning, but this storm kind of looks like it has a little bit more of an easterly movement to it. Here's the rotation. See how it's moving easterly? It may pass to the north of Gary, but if you're in Gary, I too would seek shelter in that interior room. The safest thing is to keep in mind is this: if a tornado that can produce winds over 100 miles per hour picks up any debris like this cell phone, a rock, some straw or hail, and it throws it through the air at 100 or more miles per hour, that is like a projectile, and it can stick in things. Don't let it stick in you, okay? Anything like straw, we find straw stuck into the sides of walls. You get down to the basement and you're below the level of all the flying debris. So that's why we recommend basements are the safest place for you to seek shelter. When you get in the basement, like Hutch's basement right now, I've got a window right here. This would not be the ideal for Hutch Johnson to sit during a tornado warning, okay? You get out of rooms with windows and you get to interior rooms. And remember this, kids, if you're home alone, walls, walls, walls. Put as many walls between you and this tornadic storm as possible. Now, this does not mean absolutely everywhere in this area is going to have the tornado move over them. Tornadoes are extremely small. A thunderstorm is 10 miles in diameter on average, and a tornado is less than a mile, less than a half a mile in average with regards to how big of an area it impacts. That means you can take a pencil and draw on this map, and those will be the impacted areas. It's a small, small area, but this is where the storm is. This is where the warning is, and you should be taking shelter. So we're going to continue to cover this. I will have the latest scan information as it comes in for you. We still see the rotating part of the storm right here, just off to the, over the Highway 9 corridor, just off to the east. So it's passing over that now. And this area is moving out over County Road 19 right now with its greens next to the reds right here. So this is the location of the Doppler indicated tornado. We do have some other shear and spin on this side near Beltrami and near the fertile area. I believe that is Highway 1 out there, County Highway 1 in southern Polk County. This is not necessarily a spinning motion like this. This is a rolling motion horizontally. It's as if a tube of air in the sky is doing this. That's what this radar beam is indicating right here, or radar display. So this doesn't mean we have a tornado here just because there's reds and greens. And that's why you want a meteorologist to kind of go over this stuff with you. Now, we do have some maybe weak spin on the leading edge of this. What you're looking at here is likely some outflow from the thunderstorm. I'm going to cover some other areas with regards to where we're seeing storms right now. Also, an indication that we have this storm very near that Highway 9 corridor right here is this little bite taken out of the storm right here. So we can get a tornado spinning, and if it's spinning like this, it can throw heavy raindrops outside of the rotation, and that throws all the rain out, and we get weaker echoes in where there could be a tornado. So we got an evidence of something here and something here at the Lockhart area, not far from that, just off to the east of you. So a couple areas of rotation with this storm moving to the northeast. There is very heavy rain in Beltrami right now. If you're in Beltrami, you got rain, thunder, and even some hail. There is a tornado warning for you. And you see this little area of the storm right here. This is likely bowing with very gusty winds being associated with that. And we could see the development of another little spin up just off to the east of Beltrami now. So seek shelter, interior room, get to that basement. Now, you asked about Thief River Falls, and I'm going to try to keep up with all of my live channels and questions. And I have them all on the screen here. So my attention isn't drawn away from you. It's trying to take information in. All right, let's see. Thank you, Barbie. I do appreciate your kind words. I see that this storm is going to affect Beltrami. Yes, Josie, it's in the Beltrami area right now with hail and rain. And the rotating part of the storm that I can see on the radar right now is here where the hand is. But in your area, we got this little nook moving, and there could be the development of another tornado from the same cluster of storms. So if you're in Fertile, if you're in Beltrami or rural portions on County Highway 1 here between the two, please seek shelter now. That does mean my viewers up in southern Polk County seek shelter. I'll keep you posted in places like Mentor, but if you're in Mentor, if you're in Fertile, you have time to prepare. Sundal, you have time to prepare for this storm working its way towards you. Let's check out what's going on in Gently up here near Crookston. Now, these storms here have a little bit lower reflectivity, and as far as that goes, I'll look at the radar loop here, and we will show you that these cells are moving rapidly to the north. This puppy down here is moving northeast. So if we see the spinning storm, this one's moving in this general direction, directly towards Fertile. Every time I click to go live on the notification, I get directed to my Facebook feed. I have to search for your page. This won't help in situations like this. Talk to Facebook. Thank you for letting me know, Kim. Exactly. Facebook doesn't always notify everybody that follows Hutch. So I don't have a way to tap you on the shoulder and let you know. So I appreciate you passing the word too, and you can help me. Zachary, thank you. Very dark in Thief River Falls. You asked about that. Let me show you. Thunderstorms are to your south. They're moving into the Thief River Falls area, Red Lake Falls. They're drifting to the north-northeast right now, and they're moving into Thief River Falls. Is that storm rotating? It's in an environment that does have some rotation in it. Let's go ahead and check it out. We are seeing a little weak rotation. This, unfortunately, is so far away from the radar, we can't really detect what's going on at the bottom of the cloud. So all we can see, because the radar beam shoots up, is what's going on up inside the cloud. That's the raindrops up in the cloud. And we do have some reds next to the greens here, which would indicate the possibility for some areas of shear. But do look at this. We have white all the way around it. What does that mean? That we've got wind blowing toward the radar here and away from the radar here and toward the radar here. So what this means is a huge, broad area. If you measure this in miles, you're going to see from the center of this red to the center of the green here, that's about 6 mile wide circulation. So there is big, broad rotation with this particular storm. It's not likely producing a tornado, but it is showing some signs of spin in that particular storm. That is moving in the general direction of Thief River Falls. So if we loop this here for you, this area of spinning thunderstorm is moving towards you. So we have a thunderstorm. It's not capable of huge hail. When we go back to the reflectivity here, we do have some, well, now it's starting to increase in intensity just a little bit, just off to the east of Wiley, north of Red Lake Falls. So if you're on Highway 32, after the bend, as you turn north to dive into Thief River Falls and cross into Pennington County, that's where the storm is at. The most likely place for spin-ups in these type of storms is usually on this inflow side over here and not on the backside. But that doesn't mean we can't get the rain-wrapped style tornado right in this pocket. The pocket up here where I circled is the rotating part that we saw there. It's a broad rotation. Just hitting us in Dilworth, pouring thunder and lightning. Brenda, thanks. Thanks, John, for Beltrami. He says we're getting pounded. I really appreciate that. Yeah, we'll go ahead and go right back to the coverage of the tornado-warned storm. But there's a spinning storm making its way up toward Thief River Falls. It's moving at about the same clip. I'll give you some timelines. It's moving out of Red Lake Falls toward Thief River Falls, and we're going to use a movement of about 35 miles per hour. That's moving towards St. Hilaire in about 12 minutes. There's no warning for this storm, but it's a rotating thunderstorm. So you're going to have thunderstorm activity moving into Thief River Falls. There's some broad, weak rotation with it, and it'll be in Thief River Falls in about 20 minutes. So as we cross into the 1 o'clock hour, that's when it'll be moving north. You can count on me to keep you updated through this event. I'll continue to do that. Let me look at Dilworth and let me look at the pounding that's going on in Beltrami right now. Thanks, John, for your report. I hope you're staying safe. Crystal, thanks for the stars. Austin, can we see rotation by Lockhart, please? Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the storm. Absolutely. I tried to do my best to cover all the areas, and we have a number of storms going on right now. So as we take a look at that unincorporated area in Norman County, there it is. It's right on the radar now. See that? So let's go ahead and take a look at that. That would be a new area of rotation. Let's go into the velocities on this for you. And again, well, let's see. We've got a couple different areas. This could be spawning a couple different areas of spin. One right here. Okay, that's to the east of Lockhart, and one right here. So there are a couple of areas of some spin showing up with this storm. The greens and reds up here, that's a rolling motion that's not necessarily tornadic, but maybe just north of Fertile, we've got this little red pixel right there. That could be a little bit of weak rotation. So in other words, in this storm, if I loop it, you're going to see these areas of spin moving from here to here. The warned part of the storm is moving right here. So let me show you. Right here is where we detected it, and it's moving right here. So as we look at Lockhart, and again, as the crow flies from Lockhart, we have a little rotation just about 4 miles east. There's another little rotation about 9 miles east, northeast of you near Sundahl. This is moving directly toward Fertile right now. If you're in Fertile, you should be seeking shelter in that interior room, staying away from windows. Basements are best. Get out of mobile homes, manufactured homes. You have time, but not a lot of it, as this storm works its way to the north and east. Now I'm going to look at some information from the National Weather Service and making sure that they haven't issued anything else. No reports that I can see. I'm going to also turn on active storm reports as they come in. They're going to plot right on Hutch's radar map here. I'll plot the ones from the last 6 hours so we can see what's going on here. So if we get a tornado report, it should pop up on my screen for you here so that you can see that. Okay. This is a Doppler indicated tornado. It's a dangerous storm, and it's a warning. A warning means that a tornado is imminent. It's about to occur. You're getting a lead warning to this. We've got spin in this storm, and it's moving towards Fertile. It's moving at about 38 miles per hour. Let me see. I'm going to pop this up towards Fertile here. And there's the latest rotation of one of the spinning couplets moving in towards Fertile, Mentor and Erskine. I'm going to put 38 miles per hour as the speed. And let me pull this down so you can read it with me. You have about 5 minutes to 8 minutes to seek shelter in Fertile. This storm is moving with the rotation directly towards Fertile, so keep that in mind. Does that mean a tornado is imminent in Fertile? It's very possible. So seek shelter. Get out of manufactured homes, mobile homes, tents, RVs, campers, and things like that, and get into a sturdy structure. You have a few minutes to do so. When you're inside this sturdy structure, you want to get to an interior room, a hallway that doesn't have windows. Maybe then get into a closet that doesn't have windows and get low and protect your head. So that's what you should be doing right now if you're anywhere in the warned area. This does include Beltrami. You can actually kind of see this little area of spin moving on the leading edge of this storm. Okay, so we do have this rolling over of the storm right here that's developing along with it. Do you have hail? Are you seeing hail? I'm going to go back to your reports right here. Hubby in Thief River says it's pouring hard now. Thanks, Anita. I appreciate your report. Mahnomen. These storms are off to the east of you in Mahnomen right now. They're not heading into Mahnomen at this particular time, but the whole line will be moving its way towards you. So we have an active tornado warning in Fertile. We have a storm with a little bit of spin moving out of Red Lake Falls and into southern Pennington County along Highway 9. Boom! National Weather Service just warned that storm, it looks like. Let's take a look at that. Looks like we just got a warning for the storm moving into Thief River Falls. There, my phone tells me the same thing. Terry Mackner, good to see you, my friend. If you're in Gary, things are just skirting outside of your area. The storms are just a few miles to the west of you. You are not in the tornado warning. Here is a storm that's rotating right here near Red Lake Falls. We just analyzed this for you. This is moving towards the Thief River area. So again, Fertile, you have 5 minutes to get to your safe spot. There is a potential Doppler indicated tightly spinning storm moving over your area. Don't worry about looking out your door. You're not going to see much but rain. The rotating part of the storm you cannot see from the north side. Maybe your neighbors down south can see it. I'm waiting to see if we get any reports from any storm spotters that are trained to be out there from them. Look at this though. See this storm moving towards Thief River right now? You've got the thunderstorm, the heavy pouring rain now. That's what's hitting you. You cannot see this coming, but there's a spinning couplet right here. Let me read with you this storm information from the National Weather Service. We'll close this off. Tornado possible, it says. So I zoom this out. You can read with me. This storm is spinning. We cannot rule out a tornado. It does not mean one is on the ground. Severe thunderstorms can, with very little notice, produce tornadoes. 1-inch hail, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts heading toward Thief River Falls right now. Here is a look at what the Weather Service is saying. This was issued just as we're speaking here. It does include parts of eastern Marshall County as well once the storm makes its way through Pennington County. It's also including that far northern corner of Red Lake County, but it's not in Red Lake Falls. It's just north of town after that northeast bend in the road there that takes you north to Thief River Falls. Central Pennington County, you are also in this storm moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. So I've been using 38. We'll up that velocity for you and retime it for you in Thief River Falls. If you're in rural areas between Thief River Falls and the Red Lake Falls area, and you're along the highway, Highway 32, please keep in mind you got 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-sized hail potential from this storm. Fertile, there is a tornado warned storm heading towards your area right now. You should be seeking precaution, doing your tornado precautions in and around that area. And now we're going to take a look at the radar. We're going right in. There is a rotating part of this storm as the crow flies. Oh, I'm sorry. I got to turn my tool off so I can move the radar. Now we're going to show you how far this rotating part of the storm is away from Thief River Falls. As the crow flies, it's moving in the general direction of Thief River, and it is about 9 miles away. Okay, so you don't have much time, but this storm will be moving in your general direction. Now let's give you an estimate of when it arrives. So we'll zoom out just a little bit to be more inclusive of other communities. And this severe thunderstorm with a rotation detected in it will be making its way northeast at 40. I'm going to do 42, 43 miles per hour because there's a delay in broadcasting. And if there's a delay or maybe a buffering in your system, I want you to have plenty of time to repair because sometimes our internet speeds are different from my home to yours. It's moving over St. Hilaire right now. If you're in St. Hilaire along Highway 32 there, moving northward through Pennington County, the rotating storm is over you in 1 minute. You got 10 minutes to prepare for this storm in Thief River Falls. There's 1-inch hail, and there's gusty straight line winds to 60 miles per hour, and there's rotation in it. Put the vehicle in the garage, and in 10 minutes, you want to get out of things like manufactured homes, mobile homes, get into a sturdy structure, get to the interior room, and make sure that in that interior room, you're putting yourself between as many walls and barriers as the outside as you can. If this storm were to pick up this pencil of Hutch's and throw it through the air at 100 miles per hour, that pencil becomes a projectile and it can hurt me. If it's flying at 100 miles per hour, it could go through me. So they're like projectiles, they're like bullets. You need to be below the level of the ground if you can be. That's why basements are an update. 0 minutes. The storm is over St. Hilaire. The rotating part of the storm is over St. Hilaire. It's already raining as we take a look at the radar. You're going to not be able to see the rotating part of this storm coming. The heavy rain and the hail is moving into the southern part of Thief River Falls, just south of town. It's going to be moving along Highway 59 as well. So if you're along Highway 59 southeast of Thief River Falls, not far from, say, a Plummer, north of Plummer, between Plummer and Thief River Falls, right over the airport now is where things are. So if you happen to be working out by the airport south of town and along Highway 32, that's the core of the hail and that very heavy rain. And this is a severe thunderstorm warning. See the little bite taken out of the storm here? That's the rotating part, and that's moving in your same direction. So don't go outside when it's quiet, when the hail ends, and go, oh, jeepers, things are great now. It must be quieting down. This is the rotating part down here. So you're going to get whacked with rain and hail first, and I'll keep you informed as this rotating part that's over St. Hilaire now will be making its way to the north and east. So here's St. Hilaire right here. Here's the rotating part of the storm right now. This doesn't mean that it's producing a tornado on the ground. I don't know that, but Doppler indications are showing spinning here. St. Hilaire, heavy rain and hail is exiting your area, and the rotating part of the storm is moving over you. That's going to be heading directly towards or near the Thief River Falls Airport south of town. The hail is going to be moving into Thief River Falls on the south side here as you're coming up on 32 down toward the elementary school on the south side of town. So kids, if you're home alone, again, it's summer vacation, you're out of school, we've got a tornado warned storm moving into Fertile shortly. And we've got a thunderstorm warning in Thief River Falls for large hail and gusty wind. And a tornado cannot be ruled out from that. The tornado part of the storm is down here by Hutch's Pinky. I'll keep you apprised of that information. Let's look at other storms forming down to the south real quick. We don't want any surprises. Glendon all the way up to Felton, the line of storms. These are individually moving northeast. So Ada, you're going to get another storm moving into your area. This is not very pink, meaning not very much hail. Glendon, we got oranges here, very heavy rain heading into your neck of the woods. Flood warning for the Buffalo River, so we're going to add insult to injury in the form of rain. I will briefly look and see if any of these storms are showing signs of rotation. I see 0. Unidirectional winds here away from the radar. That's good news for you. But here's a look at the latest rotation. Don't let the red peeking through here fool you. That's from the tornado warning below it. So again, that's why I'm here to guide you through it. We got one rotation that's fairly weak with the greens and the reds here near Fertile right now. But the main event that this was warned for is down here. So we do have that rotation still heading into the Fertile area in moments. Okay, so as we continue to cover this, tornado warning has been issued for portions of southern and central Polk County. It does include Beltrami, Fertile, and the County Highway 1 corridor between them. Rotating part of the storm right now is down here near the county line, moving towards Fertile, eventually toward the Mentor area. We'll keep you posted. And again, I'm looking for any storm reports. Let me check my channel on YouTube and see who's watching here. Shaylin, thank you. Joy watching. I appreciate you in Polk County. Geronimo, thanks for watching. All right, let's see. I didn't realize you could turn off commercials in live streams. I didn't know I could do that either, so that's something for me to learn. I will look at that, and I'm not meaning to interrupt this with commercials for you, but I'll take a look if I can do that. I will, but this particular broadcast continues. Thank you for letting me know, because I am learning with you here about streaming live on these platforms. So let me go back and answer questions. How about Black Duck? Michelle, these storms are a long ways from Black Duck. They'll go through the Bagley area and Beltrami area as we go into the central afternoon hours. We will have a risk for severe weather. The greatest risk for tornadoes today will be in this northern sector where there is some shear or spin in the atmosphere today. It didn't look too huge to me. We got a huge area of what looks like a thunderstorm warning up here, up in Canada. So this is north of Badette. Canada issues thunderstorm warnings. This is from the Angle Inlet and all over the lake area there towards Sioux Narrows right here. Their threshold for severe storms is just a little bit lower with hail size, but I see a rotating couplet right here. So there is some rotation in the storm here. This is on the U.S. side of the border right here, just south of Nestor Falls. This is not far from Rainy Lake. It's straight north of Emo. That rotation is about 28 miles northeast of the Emo area. See how far it is away from the radar? It's very, very high in the sky. Anything for Perham today, there's a chance of storms for you as well. Right now, severe thunderstorms moving into and near Thief River Falls. They were over St. Hilaire. The rotating part of the storm, you can see the greens next to the reds here. That is the rotating part of the storm on the south side of town. That's going to be pretty close to the airport, maybe just south. Here's the airport. The rotation is right here. This is going to miss the main part of Thief River Falls with that particular part of rotation, but the rain and hail is moving into Thief River Falls as we speak. Are you getting hail? Let me know what you're getting in Thief River Falls. I saw a report that you're getting pounded with very heavy rain. The reflectivity is showing that we've got a hail core still over Thief River Falls, but the main event now shifting up north. The rotating part just down here where we see the bite taken out of the storm, that's moving through the airport area. So if you are in Thief River Falls and points south and east, you got large hail, gusty straight line winds, and the risk for a possible tornado with this storm. Again, we'll keep you posted. If you are looking in on the Borup area here, this storm, let me look at the loop on this. It has a couple interesting reflectivity features here. Moving north and east towards Ada. So let me check on my Ada folks here. And between Ada and Borup, there's this storm. Looks like a couple storms forming here. This one forming on, you can see the outflow boundary moving away, and it's causing this storm to develop. See this little light green shade? That is from the poof, the burp of cold air coming out, and it's causing new storms to form. I'll be watching these closely. We'll look for any rotation in these storms. I don't see any significant rotation yet in that storm, but it's just starting to fire up. Now, as we look onto the fertile area, again, for you in Lockhart, the storm is out of your area in Lockhart. That's on the Highway 9 corridor, but as you go into north central parts of Norman County here and heading into Fertile, we still have some indications of some spin and shear right here on the county line, okay? And that's moving into Fertile. We also do have some weak evidence of some spin moving right into Fertile as we speak. So again, I'll look for an update from the National Weather Service, see if we've gotten any reports. I'm not seeing any storm reports here from any weather observers. Okay, so the Weather Service is just monitoring the development. The development in the severe thunderstorm warning for the Pennington County area. Okay, so we definitely have these 2 thunderstorms, 1 tornado warned. That's in Fertile. You can expect the rotating part of the storm to imminently be over you in moments. We got a couple different areas of spin, so we could be having, these storms kind of can produce a funnel and then it goes away and then we get a new development down to the south and that's taking over. See this little spinny area right here? And then there's another area that's very close to Fertile and points north. So I'm going to rock the radar back and forth here. We'll rock the radar back and forth and you can see the green moving into Fertile next to the red right there. That's happening now. So there's rotation over Fertile now. You should be in your storm shelter location, the place you and your family have talked about and planned for to be. And then there is another area of spin or shear that'll be moving into the Fertile area from this area, right on the county line, just off to the east of Sundahl on 330th Avenue. That's moving in towards the Fertile area. So rotation over Fertile now, a little rotation north of Fertile. It's kind of a mess with regards to what's being shown up on the radar here. A lot of areas of some rotation showing up in kind of in the mid-levels of the cloud. If we loop this radar, you can see that the hail core and everything is quieting down now in Fertile. I mentioned to you, you're going to probably get the rain and the heavy, the thunder and hail rather, the other icy type of precipitation moving through. This is one area of rotation from one storm up here north of Fertile. And then we look at this one that's moving in from the south. This one is showing some signs of rotation too. And this is moving to the north and to the east. So Gary, for my friends there, you're looking like the storms are kind of forming over you. You got more moving in your general direction. They're moving out of the Borup area now. Those will have a chance at moving through Gary. We'll monitor them here for you. The warning for the tornado has been canceled or allowed to expire in Fertile. That means that the storms, the rotation is weaker. No reports of tornadoes that the Weather Service had. So as far as it looks to me, that risk of the tornado there is lowering. As I showed you just moments ago, we have little weak rotation areas with that northern storm north of Fertile, little weak rotation areas with this cell that's just developing here. And we'll continue to monitor that. So the tornado warning has been allowed to expire for parts of Norman and Polk County. We still have storms meandering through the area. Look at this heater south of Bemidji, though. This one's just firing now. A little bit more energy in the atmosphere out towards Henning and Wadena. Look at these cells out here. Very, very pink, meaning probably higher cloud tops, meaning probably higher potential for hail. Moving into Deer Creek and Henning right now, the Weather Service has an advisory issued for this. Moving toward the Highway 10 corridor here between New York Mills and Wadena, so not far from Bluffton. So if you're heading in that Bluffton area in Deer Creek, you got a hail-producing storm that is intensifying as it's working its way through. I'll look at this one for any signs of spin or rotation in it. This is even farther away from our radar sites. I'm seeing some different wind speeds, but not necessarily direct, strong shear. With this particular storm, at the very best, we're looking very high in the cloud, and there's some weak spin near Henning and Deer Creek right now. So these areas have a strong thunderstorm making its way through. Let me go ahead and turn on some analysis tools here for this storm so we can take a look at what the radar estimates are for hail with this. I'll look at this. It is estimating that it's up to 1-inch diameter hail now. So this storm is building, and it could produce, there is a 50% chance of 1-inch diameter hail. So that's not the greatest, but there's a 90% chance of hail. The maximum size would be up to 1 inch. So it's a growing storm. It's intensifying and could produce up to 1-inch diameter hail, but more than likely is producing nickel-sized hail. If you have a report, please pass it along. I'm looking for your reports right now. Thanks, Alicia. Family and fertile, prayers for anyone in the path of storms. Thanks, Kristen. Appreciate that. Sump pump running frequently in Ada. Mine hasn't stopped as well in Moorhead. We try to recover from all the rain that we've had in the area. We'll turn this back to the reflectivity. There's another storm not far from you folks in Bemidji. Let's look at this. Hubbard County seeing a strong storm firing up. These are just now beginning as we cross into the 1 o'clock time frame right now, moving north-northeast. So these storms have a punch to them, and they're growing. So these we'll watch very closely for risk for the strong to severe size hail developing in these storms. Look at this up by the Lake George area here. I'll pause on the latest scan here. This hail storm is developing right now and heading right toward the headwaters at Itasca. So if you're in and around Itasca and you're camping out at Itasca and you're watching, let me know what you're watching on. What are you watching from? Are you using Facebook on your phone? Are you using your I'm going to get some information. Somebody's texting me some reports here, so pardon me while I get that. Pictures of the yard. Yeah, a little scared for a tornado up in the Beltrami area and Fertile area. So the tornado warning for that area has expired, but the storm is strong. I'll continue to monitor it as I'm going around the region. For my viewers at Itasca, I want to let you know we have a building storm right here. The indication is that we have some pinks. With these storms that could produce hail, what we do notice with them is they start having taller and taller cloud tops. So the tallest cloud top by far right now in our area is this Thief River Falls storm that's moving through Thief River Falls right now. That one has a cloud top where you see the yellow and oranges here of about 45,000 feet. So they're growing. The hail potential with that storm is likely to continue. There was also some signs of some rotation with that cell as it's working its way through Thief River Falls. Notice that these developing cells are now just crossing the 35,000 foot mark as they're billowing up and towering up. From Park Rapids, you may be even able to see this cell that's developing to your north. That's heading toward the Itasca headwaters right now. Solway and Wilton will be in the path of that developing storm, so I'll watch that. Very dark and rumbling, Sandy says. Let me know where, Sandy. I'd love that. There is hail in Thief River. Zach, when it's safe to do so, let me know what size the largest stone is. Okay, so with regards to the hailstone, thank you for your report. Stay in the interior room because the way that storm looked to me, you're going to get hit with the rain and the hail first, and then the rotating part of the storm will move into town. So I'll keep you posted on that right now. Let's go back to the velocity. We'll see if it's still showing some spinning with regard to the storm. Remember, this is not a tornado warned storm. This is a severe thunderstorm warning, and a tornado is possible because there's some spin with it. The spin is pretty close to Thief River Falls right now. So we do have some spin showing up in the upper levels of this cloud. Hutch's radar display showing some 1-inch diameter hail on the south side of town. Is that where you are, Zachary? Let me know what part of town you're getting the hail. And I will put up this too so you have an opportunity to measure But one of the things that we like to look at here, I'm pulling up some different content here for you. So bear with me. As this live coverage, I have to pull out of my pocket what it is I want to show. And now I want to show you a little bit about hail. Okay, so here we go. National Weather Service likes hail reports from you, but you want to find the largest stones so we know what the storm is capable of producing. And you want to measure the largest diameter. It may not be perfectly round. So as you're measuring hail, take a look at this chart briefly, and we'll get back to storm coverage. You can compare it to things if you don't have a ruler. A ruler is your best bet. That gives us an exact or precise measurement. But you can compare it to the size of coins because those have a known diameter. If it's quarter size, that's 1 inch in diameter, and it's severe. If it's bigger than quarters, like ping pong balls, then it's definitely severe and really can start damaging cars. Golf balls, let us know what you can compare it to. Compare it next to that thing and let us know what you're seeing. Now, it gets hard when people compare them to marbles because we have different marbles sizes out there. Even lemons, limes, and grapefruits have different sizes, but we sure appreciate your reports. Now, back to the severe weather coverage on the radar. No hail on the west side of Thief River Falls from Brenna. Thank you for that report. Sitting southwest of Wadena, watching this come in, and it's mean looking. David, thank you very much for your report. I'll get back on that storm too. This rotating part of the storm, though, is on the south side by the airport, like I was saying moments ago, and it's moving through the southern fringes and just southeast of town here. And this is moving out into parts of northern Pennington County, getting ready to head through in the southern Marshall County. So if you're in that Grigla area, if you're at Holt, this storm is going to move through rural areas in eastern Marshall County as well. It does have some hail potential. No hail on the east side, says the Shed. Thank you very much for your report. Aren't you right on the highway there on the east side of town? Thank you so much. Is that wonderful to hear from you and your report. South side of Thief River Falls reports pea-sized hail, but that has since dissipated. Amber, thank you for your report. I will pass that on to the National Weather Service so they know what you guys are getting there. Okay, here goes. Pea-sized hail in South TRF reported moments ago. All right, so we'll give you that, and I like to let them know too in real time so that they can assess the storm and what it's doing. Your reports really do help. Zachary says pea-size hail there as well. Thank you so much. Sunny, north of Bemidji, in the northern township. Linda, thank you. There's storms heading your way. Let me go ahead and turn the radar display back to reflectivity. There is a rotating thunderstorm. It's moving south of Thief River Falls and exiting. Notice weaker echoes here. So the fact that the hail threat has moved north of town is exactly correct. And in fact, it does look like it's weakening. But remember, the farther we get away from the radar, the higher in the cloud we're looking, and not all thunderstorms throw hailstones up to 40,000 feet or so. So we'll go ahead and keep our eyes on this storm. It's moving in the general direction of the Elm Lake Wildlife Management Area. So keep that in mind. This backward C shape means you could be getting some gusty wind as well. Thank you very much. Getting lighter on the northern side of Maple Lake. Thanks for your report. Over an inch in less than 30 minutes from the Shed. Thank you so much. I got to tell you, your reports are helping a lot. That's a lot of heavy rain coming your way. Boy, we've had a lot of heavy rain. Okay, so again, storms moving through Pennington County. That's our warned storm. They got strengthening storms moving out of, this is the strongest over Deer Creek. Notice that it hasn't moved too much. That's because we're having cells develop down here and they're drifting north and more are developing. So we're getting this, this looks really cool on satellite. It's a pancake that doesn't move and it keeps forming in one area and the pancake keeps spreading north. It's like you're pouring that pancake batter on the griddle, right? And that's what it looks like from satellite. I'll show you that in a minute, but I want to let you know the strongest of the hail potential with this cell, the pink core that we're seeing here aloft above the ground. This will likely be falling toward the ground as it moves to the north and east, toward Bluffton right now. So Bluffton, you're in the path of a hail core. Wadena, it's going to be very close to you, but I do believe it's going to cross over Highway 10 just off to the west of town. And we do have this area here down south towards Deer Creek and Henning that continues to be a very bright red. So there's another cell moving up towards Sabika here. That one looks like it might be decreasing in intensity. Let's look at it because I think that was the main event earlier. There it is. See, it's moving, and as it drifts away, it's developing, but it's getting away from this area of lift right here that continues to produce some storms. So let's see what the pancake looks like here as we look at the satellite griddle. Okay, we're zoomed in here to our area. Oops, I'm going to have to switch sides here. Visible. There's your pancake. Hey, I called that one. There's your pancake developing. That area has area. I referred to it as an upside down bathtub. It's where the air is rising very rapidly and it's producing some increasingly tall towers. Still some 1-inch diameter hail possible from that cell as it moves north towards Bluffton right now. So that's your analysis. The tornado warning has been allowed to expire. We have strong thunderstorms developing near Park Rapids. These will be heading from Hubbard toward the Nevis area. This is all in the area of the Cub Scout camp up there, so keep that in mind if you're out at Camp Wilderness drifting near you. It's a little bit farther to the east of you as I can show you where Camp Wilderness is on Hutch's radar display. Here's Camp Wilderness, so you got some strong storms out there near Cub Scout camp, drifting just off towards Paul Bunyan State Forest, okay? So in that area here, we do have some strong storms. They're developing. They're not severe at this time, but I'll keep you posted. And look at what's heading towards Bemidji and the headwaters. This is likely going to stay just off to the west of you in Bemidji. Another developing cell that is heading right towards Itasca and Wilton area, okay? So if you are in the northern reaches of Hubbard County and extreme southwestern Beltrami County, this storm is making its way towards you. It's increasing in strength. It's not severe yet, but by the looks of it, it is increasing in intensity as well. Let me see what the echo tops and hail vertically. Yeah, we're going to start to see that potential for hail increase with this cell where you see the reds. Notice the cell down here by Hubbard has oranges. This is a column addition of how much moisture is in there. And when we see hailstones, we end up seeing these spike. So if this turns pink, then I think we'll be seeing some severe hail potential from that. This is a developing storm moving in toward the Wilton area. Let's see what the movement of it is. Moving northeast, 29 miles per hour. Okay, and using that information, the estimate of hail size is going to be 1/2 inch right now, and the risk of hail is 80%. There's going to be some hail from that, but the risk of severe hail, 1 inch or bigger, is pretty low. So we'll keep our eyes on that storm out there heading in the Bemidji area, but likely passing just to the west of you. As we look at the other hail potential storms here, we still see that north of Thief River Falls, we have a couple. Middle River, we have a cell that's likely capable of some sizable hail with regard to that storm, and we'll go ahead and take a look at that one now, exiting Thief River Falls. The warning does continue for Thief River Falls for now, but the main threat from this storm is going by you. There's still some spin on the backside of the storm, so we'll keep you posted here with regard to this as it moves through. Very dark, Sandy says, Bluffton rather, and Deer Creek. Thank you, Sandra. I appreciate you for sharing your support. It's a pleasure to visit with you today. Spoke too soon. Black sky again, rain and thunder, Trev says. Appreciate your report. And Bijou says it's almost black south of Bijou. Shanna, thank you for your report. Okay, so what's Bijou going to get? Let's go ahead and slide south. The storm that was warned for the tornado is now moving in the general direction of you. Skies are getting dark here in towards Mentor and Erskine. And yeah, it's getting out towards Lengby and Bagley and Bijou. It's dark. Notice there's a split in the storm. So this main event storm is exiting Fertile and it's heading up towards Winger and it's heading up in the general direction of Erskine. This was the one that had the tornado warning on it. This one up here and this one here, both showing some signs of spin earlier. That spin has weakened. The radar reflectivity has weakened a bit. But it is moving in on the Brooks area right now. And Plummer, you have a storm heading towards you. Thief River Falls, Red Lake Falls, rather. I'm sorry. Red Lake County, Red Lake Falls. You're seeing a cell moving over you. It's non-severe. It's heavy rain. But just to the southwest, southeast of you, rather, along Highway 92 and east of Highway 32, we have a stronger cell pushing up towards Brooks. So this is what we have going on now. Notice the intensity of these storms in the central part of the state of Minnesota. This is where I expected things to have a better chance at being severe today. I do think we'll have to watch this area for a rotation because there's some spin in these storms. These storms out here, however, have more energy available to them to produce things like rapidly rising cores of air, larger hail, gusty straight line winds. So I think we're going to see a takeover. And this storms for our area were forecast to exit the area fairly quickly as we go into the afternoon hours. So we do have a severe thunderstorm warning for the Thief River Falls area and upwards of eastern Marshall County, not far from Grigla, rural parts of Marshall County, I might add. A very strong storm getting even closer to the Wilton area and the headwaters of Mississippi. If you're on Lake Itasca, that's a strengthening storm. There could be some hail. Its hail size right now is a little less than severe. We have a couple of hail cores in here near Wadena County, just off to the west in eastern Otter Tail, all the way from Parker's Prairie north through Henning and the New York Mills area. Bluffton in particular, Deer Creek in particular, we're seeing some heavy storms. The blue box around it means the National Weather Service has issued a statement about the storm. So that area is going to have strong thunderstorms right now below severe criteria. We will continue to monitor as the storms develop this afternoon. So that's a look at what's going on now that the active tornado warning has expired. Megan is asking about Foston. So let's go into Foston because there was a tornado warned storm there. That has now exited the area, but it's just off to the east of Foston. So here it is. Is it still rotating? Let me show you the rotation in the storm. It's still here, Megan, but it's pretty unorganized, and we did not get a report of a funnel cloud on the ground. So actually, your reports do help us. If you do see something and you're at a safe distance and you have taken a picture, please share it here in the broadcast. Rain gauges, send pictures of your rainfall reports, post them here. That's real helpful as well. But this is mainly a heavy rain producing storm now. There is some spin and shear in it as it exits fertile. What's over fertile now is a break between the systems. There's more southwest of you. That's what this little dot near Ada means. There's a thunderstorm developing near Ada, moving towards fertile. Is it rotating? No, it's not. All the red means it's all unidirectional wind that the radar is measuring here, outbound and away from the radar. This is that blast of maybe westerly wind. Let me turn on the wind displays here. I think I got a question. Is there rotation in the storm by Bemidji? Last look, no, Linda. I'll keep my eyes on that for you, though. Let me take a look at the measurements of wind direction and temperature across the area, too. Foston, 72 degrees, south wind. But out to the west here, where the storms have moved through, Crookston, look at that wind direction. This is a cool front that's kind of pushing through. Northwest and west winds, 60s. There's cooler, drier air punching in from the northwest. It's 59 in Devil's Lake. So this is drier air that's going to be purging this nonsense out of here as we go through the day. And the chance of rain will go down as that drier air moves its way into the area as well. I'll switch back to regular reflectivity here so you can get a feel for that. There's your drier air out by Belcourt, Rugby, Rolla, Towner County, and that's pushing in. The rain showers should be wrapping up and all but done in places like Devil's Lake. Let me double check my words before I speak them emphatically. You see out by Rugby and Minot, all over, the risk for rain there, and the 50s are returning there. 50s. Is this right or is this a mistake? 32 degrees in Ryder? I think somebody's throwing ice cubes on the thermometer out there. Look at the wind gust, though. Maybe it got a cold burp of air, cold rain-cooled air out of there, but I don't see any rainstorms out there. I think that's a sensor problem. We're going to go with that. Or 32 degrees. It better not be 32 degrees out there. I'm going to move south. All right. Oh, dear, says Brenda. Let's go ahead and check on these temperatures. So once your wind becomes westerly, the beginning of the end is near. In other words, we'll still have some scattered showers, but the risk for spinning and all of that goes away once your wind shifts and becomes westerly. We will have some spotty showers like we're seeing in the Devil's Lake Basin near Lakota. Thief River Falls, let's check in on this storm. And let's do it from our DOT camera and show you what it looks like north of town. The storm is north of you. Where are we? I think it's loading and it's thinking, why did it go to South Dakota? Oops, I clicked on the wrong button. My mistake. I guess I'm getting click happy here. Let's go to this. I'm going to keep my mug off of here and show you what's going on up in the Thief River area. We'll also take a look up at Solway and north of on near Highway 2 because there's an approaching storm there. Zooming into the impacted area, let's get to Thief River Falls first. And we'll take a peek at what's going on in your neck of the woods. Here's Monoman. I got to scoot over here. There's the warned storm. Here's Dakota Junction and points north of town, and we're seeing the road. Okay, look at the fields out there. This is north of town. Boy, they are just inundated with water, a soggy proposition up there in Pennington County today. Ditches filled with water. We can't see much from these clouds as the storm moves to the north, but that's our look from Thief River Falls. Thanks for the DOT for providing that look. Let's look at what's coming your way as we look at Minnesota Highway 1, not far from the Goodridge area. Again, skies are not necessarily terribly dark, but there are some darkening skies. You're on the edge of that storm that's moving north towards the Middle River area. So let's look in Gatsky and see what we got. There's the road. There are the dark skies and ditches filled with water, but the heavy rains, not necessarily as heavy there at this particular time, but it's heading in your area. So that's what we're seeing there. Now let's get out towards Bemidji. Let's look from the Lake George area here and look northward. And we see, well, the hills and the trees and the stormy skies are way off in the distance. Now let's get up a little bit closer to you folks in the Bemidji area. So here we go. Here's Solway, and there's a storm approaching you from the south, right? I'll show this to you on radar. And it does not look like we have rain hitting the road surface there at Highway 2 yet. So this storm is out south of you near Lake Itasca. Let's go to the Lake Itasca view. This is on 71. And this is, oh boy. Yeah, again, we're seeing the road surface there. Again, these are set up to be road condition type maps, not necessarily sky maps for Hutch to look at. Eastern Becker, Eastern Ottertail. Let's see what's going on out here near Deer Creek. Here's Wadena in town. We're looking at the road, and we're looking, again, road surface looking great out there. Not seeing much with regards to that. One other thing I will point out here is we have an ability to take a look at some other content. Let me do that here as I continue this broadcast. Thank you so very much for tuning in. Thanks for your support. And heavy rain now in Grand Forks. Lynn, thank you. The risk is severe there. Not so great. That's the good news. Let me get to a closer radar here so we can see Thief River Falls. Thief River Falls points north. Heavy thunderstorm activity continues. The risk is severe continues. Hail and gusty straight line winds will be the main threat. On the radar, you can see it's east of Thief River Falls now. These cells individually are following the white lines, moving to the northeast at about 30 to 40 miles per hour. You do have more storms passing out of Red Lake Falls. Those will be pushing into eastern parts of Pennington County, but they're non-severe. So the main brunt of this storm west of Grigla, I'll tell you how far. If you're in the Grigla area, this is about 12 miles due west of you. That's where the hail core is, and that's where the gustiest of the straight line wind potential will be. Let's see if we still have a tornado possible tag. We do. The Weather Service is still seeing some unorganized rotation, and it's hard to tell this far away from the radar whether that rotation is making its way down to the ground. So unless it's super strong up at the top of the clouds or in the middle of the cloud, we can still see there's a little bit of rotation here. That is not far from, it's almost halfway between Holt and Grigla. So there's some rotation here. There's some rotation up there to the east of Middle River. And then we got some outflow from the storm here that's showing up in red. That's not necessarily a big area of spin. So this is a gust front moving out of Thief River, heading its way to the north east towards southern and eastern parts of Marshall County, Minnesota. Looks like we got a tornado warning maybe up in the Boundary Waters area. Let's go take a quick peek at that. If you're in the Boundary Waters, is Red Lake going to get storms? Yeah, the Red Lakes area is going to get some storms in the area. Red Lake, Minnesota, as we take, let me turn this tool off here. The storminess, let me show you the radar display here, is way south of you right now, but there's going to be development potential all the way up into your area today. So we're seeing these storms fire now from Park Rapids and Bemidji. They're going to be moving to the northeast. This line is also, however, going to be slowly drifting east as we go through the day, which will decrease your chance. So with any luck, you're going to be on the western edge of the stronger storms, and they'll be exiting your area. So right now, I don't see a huge threat upwind from you in Red Lake, Minnesota. That's an answer for you, Josie. Thank you for your question. I hope I pronounced your name right. This looks like a tornado warning. Remember, I was showing you rotation moments ago. This was issued by Environment Canada. This is from Environment Canada meteorologists saying that there's a large hail and intense rainfall possible, and it's capable of producing a tornado. This is a dangerous and life-threatening situation. Tornadoes warnings are issued when the conditions are imminent. That's what they say at Environment Canada. I don't have a lot of great radar data here, but let me switch over to the Duluth radar right quick, and that's going to maybe be just a pinch closer, but maybe not. Yeah, here we go. That cell right there with the bright pink is a hailer, and if we're seeing this from Duluth, then it's throwing hailstones pretty high up in the atmosphere. Let's take a look at the velocity, and I can show you where this storm is capable of the tornado. There are a few places down here in the boundary waters near Lake of the Woods here that are in the path of this rotation right here. It's basically near Highway 71 in the boundary waters. If you're camping north of Badette, we do have a little bit of spin showing up in the cloud too, just north of you. It's very weak, and it's so far away from the radar. It's very difficult to make a call like this. So sometimes we would rather err on the side of caution. We're seeing evidence of rotation. It's a good idea to seek shelter away from windows. I'm going to switch the radar back to the Mayville radar. Yeah, we still are seeing, not far from Badette, just a little bit of weak spin and shear in the atmosphere here and there. So keep that in mind. That's going to be moving out over the big lake, and it's going to be moving into the boundary waters area. There's an active tornado warning up there, just to let you know. Share it with your friends and comment. Maybe you need to send them a text message to check the weather. If they're up in the boundary waters, there is a tornado warning, mainly on the Canada side. Raining in Bemidji, Clarine. Thank you so much for your report. All right, let's check in on the latest on our radar reflectivity here. The strongest storm is in the Grigla area, just west of Grigla. Severe thunderstorm warning continues. A tornado is possible. The rest of these are just garden variety showers and storms once you get to the west of this area. All of this, where my hand is waving here, is a garden variety thunder showers, but there is some spin in this environment. Once your wind shifts and becomes westerly, like I said, Valley City, Jamestown, the risk for anything severe is going to go away very quickly. And our chance of rain will be decreasing into the late afternoon and evening hours. Wadena, Park Rapids, and Bemidji, you are in the area where we have the best chance at seeing some thunderstorms become severe today. So again, thanks to all of you for your reports. It is 1:24 Central Time here, broadcasting live. Wadena, you do have a stout storm moving right into town now, okay? This one's pretty stout. Let's take a look at the latest. Now look at your wind direction. Southerly, very strong, 72 degrees, and a heater, high cloud top with hail potential moving into Wadena and areas just west of town, between Wadena and Bluffton. This could be sizable hail. Let's take a look at the latest analysis tool that I can look at to get some idea of where the largest hailstones might be. I am seeing where we see a few of these little pink displays here, the possibility of some more sizable hail with this particular storm as well. If you're in the Wadena area, Bluffton area, and areas east of Henning, rather, please let me know. This would be near Hewitt, and you're looking at my friends in Staples. Look at Staples here. It's 82 degrees in Staples. Hutch's family used to live right here, okay, south of Staples there. And Dad, if you're watching, hope you're doing well. Thinking about you every day. Wadena, we do have showers and thunderstorms moving in your general direction right now. How fast is it moving? Let's take a look at this. This cell is moving northeast at about 18 to 25 miles per hour. And it has the potential for some hail. Right now, the radar indicates that we might have a chance at severe hail with this storm, but it's a lower probability, only about 50% chance. But there is a 90% chance of some hail. It could be up to 1-inch diameter hail. That is what's going on there. Now, let's take a look at when it hits Wadena and time this for you. It's going to be real close to the west side of town. You know, as you're driving through on the west edge of town, that's where you got the hockey rink and the you got the high school over here on the west side of town. A lot of that stuff was rebuilt after the tornado that went through Wadena many years ago. I think June 17th rings a bell in Hutch's head. Was that 2010? Okay. This is not a tornadic storm at this time. I'll look at the rotation. I'm going to put the speed up to 24 miles per hour on this just to make sure we have ample time. The hail core is crossing. There's one hail core crossing west of town now, but there is a bigger one developing in the cloud that will be falling somewhere between Deer Creek and Wadena potentially. That part of the storm will be in Wadena in still about 20 minutes. So you can take the local time now, add 20 to it, and by around 1:35, there'll be a chance of some hail in and particularly near the western side of town. We don't know if it'll have enough gumption to make its way all the way up to Nimrod or Sabika, but I'll keep you posted right here on Hutch's weather. For now, it's not a warned storm, but it's kind of flirting with that category. Just went through Plummer, Cindy says. Massive rainfall, no hail, thundering now, rain go away. Brenda says hi to Hutch's dad. Thank you, Brenda. And Cheryl says drove into town in Park Rapids. It's coming down and the clouds look awful. Thanks so very much. I'm checking all my channels here to see if I'm getting reports from anybody else. Just curious if a tornado and a hurricane had a fight and who would win. Kevin, that's a great question. If they did have a fight and they joined forces, would they be a tornado-cane? I don't know. That's a good question. Hurricanes sometimes spawn tornadoes. Teresa, thank you so much for your thanks. I appreciate all of you watching. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to tell you right now, I appreciate your likes. Thank you much for liking these videos. It does help. And thank you for subscribing. And if you're watching on my channel on Facebook, thank you so much for following. By clicking the follow button, you have a chance at getting a notification that Hutch is live. But again, the platform does not deliver a notification to absolutely everybody. So I cannot tell you that you're going to get a notification when I'm live. And that's why I refer so heavily and rely so heavily on you passing the good word. Hutch is on live now, and Hutch will have some exciting announcements coming in the very, very near future. We do have an active tornado warning from Environment Canada for a rotating couple of storms down here. It's a huge tornado warning in a huge area. It covers the Boundary Waters and points north. So if you are in the Boundary Waters area, or if you have family or friends that are vacationing up there north of International Falls, please give them a holler and let them know that there's a tornado warning. Waban, will we have a tornado later? I can tell you that the risk of tornadoes is not great today. So I cannot say that it's going to bring a chance of a tornado. I want to point out a couple of things though. I pointed out the temperature in places right now like Bemidji. You got a hailer outside of Bemidji heading into Wilton. I've been tracking this. It's over the Boundary Waters now. Are you out at the park now? Drop me a note right here if you're at the Lake Itasca. Are you in Wilton? If you're in Wilton, you could have some significant hail making its way towards you. Close to 1-inch diameter hail, and it's just to the west of the Bemidji area now. This is going to be moving into Wilton shortly. The thing I wanted to point out is our temperatures here. Bemidji, Wadena, it's 75 to 82 degrees in these areas. That's a lot of upsidence, a lot of warmth and energy in the atmosphere. It's that heat of the day. Park Rapids is 79. It is 80 at Walker. It's 81 in central portions of the county, just off to the east of you, not far from Wabedo. Okay, so as we take a look at these temperatures, there's ridiculous warmth. This is the area where the upsidence will be the greatest. So as we get into, say, White Earth, Waban, places like that, the risk for severe weather here is going to drop dramatically once our wind becomes westerly. We still have a south wind here in Detroit Lakes, so we'll continue to watch this. Here's Waban up atop of White Earth. Oh, it's above my head. There you go. So asking about Waban, White Earth, is there going to be a tornado? The risk is low. But once your wind shifts and becomes west, you'll have a better clue that our risk has gone. Look at the wind in Fargo. Look at the wind here. It's northwesterly at Moorheads Airport. I know you can't see the little blue bar. Maybe if I zoom in closer, you can see it. Barely, but it's a northwest wind right now. So we're on the more stable side of the storm system now. We're behind the cool front, if you will. We are in the 60s. And just off to the east of us, it is in the 80s. That is unbelievable. We have 86 in Bemidji, David says. That's sweaty. And this storm can tap into that energy that's working its way into Bemidji right now. I'd love to hear from you, particularly if you're in that Solway to Wilton area or at the headwaters. You should be seeking shelter in that area, not necessarily for a tornado, but there's going to be that hail potential, and that's a growing storm. That is a growing storm. Let's go ahead and take a look at the reflectivity here. What does it look like on a normal radar view? Not a lot of pinks. Again, This is pretty high in the cloud. So we're not seeing pink. So hailstones aren't getting lofted too high. So that lowers the risk of severe size hail. But there's a chance of hail making its way into the western reaches of Bemidji now, Wilton now, and it's moving north on Lake Bemidji on Highway 71. That's where it is now. Guthrie all the way down towards Paul Bunyan State Forest here. This is Hubbard County, Nevis and the like. This is a stout thunderstorm as well. Again, these are a long ways away from the radar, so we're looking pretty high up. But this is where we have the heat of the day developing. 80s here on this side, 60s just off to the west. Let's play find the cold front. It's right here. So this is going to be a more linear event, a line of storms working its way eastward. The risk of tornadoes today is not zero as we go out towards Alexandria. Wilmer, look at Wilmer. We got a real stout thunderstorm making its way through this area, Pennock and on towards Norway Lake. That one's just developing. That's a long ways from the radar sites. Let me switch over to this puppy here. This is the Chanhassen radar in the Twin Cities. Now we can see more detail about this storm, and that one is stout. That one's growing. So these storms are all firing along this line that we pointed out. And Bemidji, you're at not only the headwaters of the Mississippi, you're at the headwaters of this main event line here. That extends all the way north into Canada, where we have the active tornado warning up near and north of Lake of the Woods and in the boundary waters up there. So a line of storms working its way through. The greatest risk for spin and shear will be up in our northern areas here, and then it works down to the south. Speaking of the south, I'll take a moment here to let you know, if you're watching from outside of the northern plains, we have some severe weather starting to pop here. We're going to go ahead and take care of a quick look at the national view of this storm system. So here's the cold front. The risk for severe weather goes all the way down into the central plains and in Wichita area here in parts of central Kansas. That by Great Bend and Salina, we're seeing some severe storms develop here, and they're moving off to the east. The little triangle tells me we have a 1.7-inch diameter hail report recently from that cell as it's making its way towards Ellsworth. Severe storms in this area have that threat of golf ball size hail, considerable damage because of the golf ball size hail. The risk of tornadoes is not zero in this area either. Pay attention to your advisories issued by the National Weather Service office. Just flooding rains throughout much of southern Louisiana continues today. Heat advisories in parts of Texas. What else is going on? All this pink you see out here in Vegas, that's an excessive heat warning. It's on out in Tucson as we take a look at some of these areas here. We'll go back and plot a couple temperatures for our national viewers out there. Thank you so much for trusting Hutch with your weather. We'll take a peek. You're at 93 in Vegas. As we look up towards St. George, Utah, we got about 88 degrees, 86 in Prescott there. In northern Arizona, where Hutch was rumbling around there not long ago, pacing. Let's take a look in this area. We got 83 degrees, Prescott, 86 in Jerome. As we get up in the high country near Sedona, it's even 86 degrees. Flagstaff, a little cooler, even higher there, right? 76 degrees. There's some chickens watching, Brenda. Thank you much. Let me see. I got a notification here. I better check out if we got a new warning. So the heat is on down to the deep south. What else do we got going on down in the heart of Texas? We've got looks like an advisory for heat. How hot is it near Abilene? How hot is it near Waco and Killeen, Texas? These temperatures here are 92 degrees, 91 Waco, Brownwood, 91 degrees, sizzling hot in the deep south. As we look onto the rain showers, how much is it cooling in Shreveport? 70. You're on the cool side of that system, obviously there. Swimming, says Brenda, in the rain showers out there. Thank you so much. New event, thunderstorm warning, Beltrami County. So we're going to go back up to North Dakota here briefly, but that's what's going on across the nation. Let's get back up. New warning up here, Beltrami County. The warning for the Thief River storm has been dropped. That's expired. It's over. The risk in eastern parts of Marshall County, Minnesota, is for some gusty winds upwards of maybe 45 or 50 miles per hour. And the rest of you in that area can expect some small hail, generally penny to maybe nickel in size. Tornado possible is the tag on this particular storm as well. Let's go to it. 3/4 inch hail, 60 mile per hour winds, and a tornado possible. Radar. Boom. If you're in Bemidji, Rita, here you go. I have some very loyal viewers up in this area, and we're keeping our eyes on this storm that crossed out of the lake the headwaters area. And now I was targeting it moving into Wilton. It looks like that core is moving now right into the western edges of Bemidji, not far from the airport. So if you're on the west side of town, there's this storm. Now, is it rotating? There is a risk for a tornado, it says. It can't be ruled out. It doesn't mean there is one. We got the hail threat. That's about 3/4 inch diameter hail right here in Bemidji. I'm going to look for a report. My friends at the emergency manager out there, I'll throw a thumbs up to the Beltrami County emergency manager. Does an extremely good job. Christopher, thank you. No funnel, a rotating wall cloud, scud or scary looking clouds being pulled up into the bottom of it. Thank you for your report. Appreciate that. Now this goes up towards Turtle River. The cells are moving to the north and east with Hutch's crazy pencil here. And you can see that they're drifting away from Bemidji right now, but that is, it's producing it says no rotation. Is that what it said? Let me double check that. Boom, boom. Okay. There is a rotating wall cloud, so that means it is showing some signs of rotation. So I'll ditch the pencil. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we're seeing on the radar. Now, keep in mind the radar beam goes up, 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 up. And the farther we get away from Mayville, North Dakota, where the radar is located, the higher up in the cloud we're looking. So we're not going to be seeing spin in the bottom of the cloud like the emergency manager is seeing in the Bemidji area. That's why his report is so valuable to meteorologists. We rely on storm spotters and trained spotters to look for rotating wall clouds. They are saying that they have the evidence of one. And here is a look at a couple of pockets of spin, one north of 71, north on 71, and one just to the east of town, not far from the airport. That's what I see on the radar. Again, this is what the radar is seeing way up above the ground, and this is going to be moving away from Bemidji. So this is a severe thunderstorm with gusty straight line wind potential and at least a couple of areas of spin. This one might be the main area of spin now. It's moving north of town. I'm going to rock the radar back and forth just a little bit and see if that spin was evident for more than one frame or two. So let's see. Storm just developing up by Turtle River. Here it is. Oh, there it is. You can see it really developed right here. And the timestamp on this is gone. That's now. Yeah, so this area of rotation is just developing. It is located here. Let me go ahead and put it. I might have to move this radar just a pinch so we can see Bemidji. So in Bemidji, right there by the Paul Bunyan statue with Babe the Blue Ox, that rotating part of the storm is about 7.5 miles northeast of Bemidji. So that's where there is some rotation. There's some more rotation in this cell up north, but you see the white in the middle? That means it's rotation that's big and broad. So it's big and broad, and it's not necessarily focused in a tight area. A little bit of signs of some spin out on the leading edge of that storm as it exits Bemidji. Let's look at the radar and see what we see there. That's kind of a pocket between storms, isn't it? So not necessarily the greatest location for it, but it's not impossible that we may see some rotation on that side of the storm as well, because that is on the warm or inflow side of the storm. There's another cell forming just south of Bemidji. That's going to be popping up through your area. It's likely just intensifying a bit. So, all right, that is a look. We've got Foston with another storm line heading towards you. Winger, Fertile, it's still raining for you. I can't believe it. And I wonder how much rain we're getting from these cells out here. Shall we take a look at rainfall with these? Now we got, let me go ahead and update Wadena. What are you seeing in Wadena? Where you have pointed is right above me in Northern Township, north of Bemidji. Thank you, Linda, for the update on that. That rotating part of the storm is going to be moving north of you. It's moving at about 28 to 30 miles per hour or so. How's Mentor, Minnesota? Angela, let's take a look. First, though, I do want to tell you that this is a real stout pink display showing up moving into Walker. So the Leech Lake area and the Walker area, Akeley, seeing a pretty stout storm that's going to be, it's going to skirt the western edges of the lake. This has 80 degrees just off the shores of the lake. What a great lake day. But the clouds are dark and this storm is pretty menacing right on the outside of the Paul Bunyan State Forest. Is it rotating? Let's take a peek and see. It's so far away from the radar, I don't see evidence of clear rotation with that. But this area here near Walker would be the area where there could be some shear in that storm on the inflow side of it over here. At any rate, there's no warning from this particular storm, but a strong storm is heading on the western shores of Leech Lake and toward Walker and heading towards Cass Lake in the next hour. So the end of the white line here is where it should be in about an hour's time, just so you know. Now, down south near Monaga, we do have a couple of storms that are continuing to show up down here on the radar as Hutch continues live coverage right now. Huntsville, Bedora. These are not tightly rotating storms, and they are starting to show some signs of growing up here. Verndale, if you're on Highway 10 there, you're seeing a little bit of hail potential moving north of you. That'll be heading in the general direction of Nimrod, where a cell is moving through. The good news here is if I take a look at this, let me make sure I'm still using my radar in Mayville. I am. Okay. These storms look like they're losing punch, but they're crossing into no man's land of the radarville. That means they're about halfway between the radar in Duluth and Mayville. And the Minneapolis one is not much help. These are a long ways away. Let's switch to the radar in Duluth, and we see similar features of these storms. So we can use 2 Doppler radars to look into the storms and see if we get confirmation of what we're seeing on the one that's so far away, and we are. And the storm moving into Walker is pretty stout. It's going to miss Walker proper, moving north of Akeley. That's between Akeley and LaPorte on Highway 64 now, heading to Highway 200. That storm is fairly stout and could produce some sizable hail. Bemidji, the severe thunderstorm warning continues for you. And that area definitely does continue to see strong thunderstorms. I'm loading up some other information here. Sometimes
So as I was looking into
I think I better turn the audio down on that. Okay, here we go. Let me see if I can put this up for you at least so you can see it. This is a network of cameras, and I want to throw a huge thank you out to the Northern Transcom rail cams of Otter Tail County and Wisconsin, and they have a lot of railroad cameras that can keep their eyes on what we're seeing across the area. So we're going to show that right now. They've given me permission to show this anytime, and I'm going to take advantage of that. It gives us a view of Minnesota where these things are starting to fire up. Let's take a look at what we got here. I may have to center this, so please, I ask your forgiveness as I kind of roll this up. This is a look at their YouTube channel, and you can kind of see here what we got going on. I'm going to zoom this in just a little bit, do a little bit of editing here in real time of what you're seeing. And I'll make this more large so you can see the cameras. So there is a network of a number of cameras across the area. And as I make this full screen, I can't do that, but I'll talk to you. Wadena is this one right here. So the Wadena storm's moving north of town. You can see the water there in town, and there's been some heavy rain. Up here, I'm trying to read this. This is another camera here. Let me see. I may have to just make this large for a second so I can read it more better. Okay, so Motley is right here. The storms are off to the east of you, but they're heading in your direction. Motley, you're about to get some storms. Skies are pretty dark in Wadena, but there's another batch of storms that are south of you. I think they'll miss you and head more towards the area just off to the east of you between you and Staples. And as we look at St. Paul and Newport, those are looking pretty good. Look at the blue skies down in the middle one here. So again, these camera feeds give us an idea of what's going on in and around area. Staples, right here where my pointer is, there is some wet roads there, and there's a cell just off to the west of you near Verndale that's pretty strong. So that's a weather update. Again, I want to throw a big shout out to the Northern Transcom rail cams out there. Thank you for allowing me to share your content. So now back to the radar and back to your questions. I'll stick with you as we have still some pretty stout thunderstorms. Bemidji, you have a severe thunderstorm warning continuing in your area. And as we look, those extend south into Hubbard County at this time. Wadena County and straight south. Well, if you look out in here down near the Hewitt area and look at this outside of Alexandria towards Osakis, a pretty strong storm that's crossing right over Interstate 94 right now, just off to the east of Alexandria. So why not take a look at the Minnesota roads cam here, and we'll just take a look at what it's showing us down there in that Alexandria area. That's a pretty strong storm. The radar, again, that is very far away from any radar in that area. So we can certainly use our assets from the DOT here and take a look at what we got going on near Alexandria. This is a look at a camera that's just off to the east of Alexandria on I-94. Let me see. Is that the only view I get? That's the only view I got is of the road surface on that one. So let's look at this one. This is in Alexandria, and it looks like we've got some very dark, wet roads. Wow! We may have just had either some farm equipment or something get towed out of that ditch. Look at that. There's a bunch of mud all over is that the interstate? That looks like the interstate out there. So in and around I-94 in Alexandria, something happened on the road surface there. On the roadside, maybe somebody went into the ditch and the tow truck just towed them out. So that's what's going on there. Let me see if I got more information. What's going on? New event, severe thunderstorm warning. Beltrami County, Roseau County. Okay, we're going to update you in Roseau County here right now. Roseau County, if you're watching, I'll be up to date with you real quick. I'm looking in toward the Osakis area here. If I can see something in and around Alexandria is what I'm looking for. And okay, things look pretty dry on that side. They're dark on that side as you look off to the east of the Alexandria area. That's that storm that is heading into the Osakis area right now. Okay, let's update you with a look at the latest radar. Here you go. Continuing coverage, you're watching Hutch's Weather. Thanks so much. This is a look at the Precision Radar sponsored by my friends at Precision Lawn and Landscaping. If you need some lawn work, give them a call. We do have some storms working their way out of the Bemidji area, heading towards Black Duck, 10 strike, and this is going to be moving to the northeast. There is some rotation evident with these storms as they work their way to the northeast. Roseau County, look at this. That doesn't look too impressive, does it? It's a long, long ways from the radar. The Weather Service says 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds will be possible with this storm. I'm going to go venture over to the Weather Service page here and take a look at what reports we've got. A measurement of wind greater than 50 miles per hour was just made from this storm. Therefore, it's capable of 60-mile-per-hour winds and some 1-inch diameter hail. We have to rely on any instruments we can get. Weather Service says this storm is moving to the north at 50 miles per hour. 50 miles per hour. It's racing by. Let's get you an update on where it's going. The impact with this storm is going to be the hail and the gusts of wind. There's no mention of a tornado possible with this one, so that's a good sign. Let me make sure I'm on the closest radar possible here. There we go. That's better. I must have been on the Minneapolis radar. That was really far out. Here it is. Hail moving towards Roseau right now and points just south. So as a crow flies from Roseau straight south on 89, the core of the hail is 11 miles just south of town. This is moving towards War Road, but more so, it's going to skirt the eastern side of Roseau. So if you're in Roseau and points east on 11 between Roseau and War Road, that is where the best chance at seeing this will be. So if you're in Salem, that's a pretty good chance that that cell will be moving in your general direction. Now, the Weather Service said 50 miles per hour. I want to double check and see what it looks like to Hutch here. So this timestamp, I can look at the storm's movement. There it is. It moved from spot A right here on my screen. I'm using my finger, pardon me, and it's moving this way. Now let's go measure how far it moved and how long it took to get there. In 50 minutes, it moved this far. Well, let's go this way. It's not letting me do it. Let me try here. All right. Just trying to analyze how far it's moved. It's moving at about, I'm going to say 30 miles per hour. Okay. I think it's 30. I think that might be an overestimate of a developing cell down to the south. So let me take a look at that. I think it's moving at 30 miles per hour. How long will it take to get to your neck of the woods up in Roseau County? The hail core is right here. I'm going to start from the center of that. From Salal, it's about 13 miles away from you. It's moving at about, put 30. I'll do 35 miles per hour. It's somewhere between what I measured and 50. And this, well, let's see. Why is it not showing me? Okay. I'm going to stop it from looping. I think it's doing wild things. Okay, we'll do this. I don't think it's moving at 50. This one is moving towards the Maolong area. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right. My apologies. 9 minutes. So the time is Right, going to be high at 2 o'clock. We'll time this out and see if the 30 mile per hour estimate on the speed of movement is maybe a little closer, but we'll see. It's moving towards Malung, though. It'll be there between 5 and 10 minutes. Salal, between about 20 and 25 minutes, it's heading towards you. That's the hail core. And again, the main threat from this is going to be some gusty straight line winds. You see this backwards C shape? These winds will be coming at you, and they will be blowing from the southwest. Okay, so it's going to burp out some southwesterly winds. You're going to get the dark clouds rolling in. You're going to get that wind first, and then you're going to see the heavy rain and the hail move through. This storm is a long ways away. Let's see what we got for rotation on this cell. We do continue to see that there's a tornado warning in the boundary waters area. Do you see this? This is tight rotation. This might be the tightest rotation evidence I've seen all day, and it's way out there. Does it say tornado possible? It does now. It says tornado possible. So this could be a tornado. It looks like maybe it's intensifying. I'm going to rock this back and forth so I can see if it's just forming. No, that couplet you see there, blowing there, and you got what we call gate to gate next to each other, no white in between. We got strong rotation and strengthening rotation with this particular storm. So in Roseau County, I think it would be safest for you and your family and kids. If you're home alone, that's okay. But if you're in rural parts of Roseau County, if you're south of Roseau and you are between Roseau and War Road, you should be seeking shelter in an interior room. Stay away from windows. This is a pretty tight rotation. And I'll say it again, we're seeing an increased amount of hail with this storm. That often happens with storms with stronger updrafts. So stronger updrafts and downdrafts mix it up and they make some static electricity. That's what lightning and thunder is. Thunder coming from the lightning. That is a tight rotation. That rotating core of the storm is moving to the northeast. I'm going to say 30 miles per hour to 35 miles per hour. We'll go 35. And we're going to go calculate. And that rotating core will be making its way towards Salo in about 20 minutes. So add 20 minutes to this, and by the time we get to about 2:12, 2:13, it will be near you in Salo. So keep that in mind. If you're in the Malung area, there's a rotating thunderstorm that's going to be moving through. Gusty straight line winds have been measured over 50 miles per hour already. You have time along the Highway 11 corridor right now, including Roseau and War Road, to batten down the hatches. If you've got lawn furniture out, if you got a trampoline out, this one's producing wind. It's getting stronger evidence here of a couplet on that storm as well. This one rotating maybe even a little bit stronger. Let me look at just the straight velocity that's measured way up high in the cloud. This is not what's blowing around on the ground. You see the bright colors blowing away from the radar? And then this area where the wind is 0, that's the spin. Okay, so that spin right there, let's take a look at how fast it is. This will give me wind speeds up at the cloud level, not at the ground. So let's keep that in mind. How about 70 mile per hour wind? Okay, so the radar way up high in the cloud. Now, this is not what's blowing around on the ground, but this is picking up 70 plus mile per hour winds, working their way through and near Malung. Okay, let me get to your comments here. Are you in Roseau County? Wowza, says Brenda. Nathan, thanks for watching. Cheryl, thank you. Thunder and lightning in Park Rapids. Hi, Amy Jo. Good to have you on from Moorhead. My poor trees, says Brenda. In Northern Township, it's hailing. That was, I believe, in the Bemidji area. Thank you for your report, Linda. Okay, so if you're watching, severe thunderstorm warning. Simon says new watches were just put out. That doesn't surprise me for the heaters developing from Bemidji and Point South. I'll get to that. These wind gusts here are approaching 80 miles per hour. So the wind at cloud level, this is a 80 mile per hour wind. Now, here's what can be a mistake. Will this wind make it down to the ground? Hutch says absolutely possible. Why? We've got a downdraft of hail and wind dragging that wind at the aloft down toward the ground. And that's called mixing. And this 75 mile per hour wind can mix down to the ground. This could be a substantially damaging storm working its way through central Roseau County, heading toward the Highway 11 corridor. It does look like the brunt of the heavy hail will be passing out of Roseau and not hitting Roseau proper. But These gusty winds that we're seeing aloft, we see them here up high in the cloud. I cannot see where it's hitting on the ground. I will be very interested to see what the wind measurements are going to be as this storm makes its way through Roseau. Here's the rotating couplet. It is right near Maolong right now. So the rotating part of the storm is still evident here where we got the grays next to the bright reds. The wind speeds that this is measuring aloft are close to, at times, 80 miles per hour. That doesn't mean we're going to get an 80 mile per hour gust at the ground, but it doesn't mean we're not either. We could have very narrow areas of extremely gusty wind with this storm. So if you are in Roseau County, from Roseau out towards War Road and toward the international border, and particularly if you're in Seilal or Maolong, this storm is moving directly towards Seilal right now. Here's Seilal if you're unfamiliar. You should seek shelter in an interior room, staying away from the windows, okay? And I want to make sure that you are on the lowest floor possible with this particular storm. You have just a few minutes to batten down the hatches if you are in Roseau. Just a couple of minutes in Roseau as the gustiest of the winds aloft are blowing over the top of you now, and then the rain and the hail core will hit. Let's go back to the storm relative. We're going to take out the storm's motion, and here you go. Here's a look at that spin right now. So it's just off to the east of Maolong right now. It's moving up in the general direction of Seilal. And if you happen to be in the Roseau area, it's not too far from you for the rotating part of the storm. So as the crow flies, we'll measure this for you. The rotation is only 7.5 miles to the southeast of Roseau. You will not be able to see this rotation for Roseau. Don't go out on the deck and try to get a picture of it, because this is what you're going to see is this red area, and that's all rain. So there's rain and hail dropping out of the storm here. There is a backward C shape to this here, meaning that's where the punch of gusty wind is the greatest. This also correlates or matches up real nicely with what I was seeing aloft, 80 mile per hour wind aloft. Some of that could get mixed down to the ground is what my thinking is. I think the number one risk from this storm is going to be gusty straight line winds in excess of 60 or maybe 70 miles per hour from this storm. Okay, so that's a look at the severe thunderstorm warning. I will be right back with that in a minute. We'll update our folks also watching from the area in and around Bemidji. We have a severe thunderstorm warning here. Cass Lake, you got a storm warning there. This storm is moving to the east of Black Duck. If you're in 10 strike to Black Duck, you're going to miss this main hail core. You see all the lightning with that puppy? Is it rotating? Let's see what the Weather Service's latest update is. Tornado possible. 3/4 inch diameter hail. That looks like maybe even a chance for, let's take a look at one more product here. It may be building. We still got some of the greatest hail size being picked up by 10 strike and moving up in toward the Black Duck area. So there's some significant hail. Look at Bemidji. See the red dot here? There's a chance for that other cell that's moving into town to be producing some pretty stout hail. Is there spin in these storms? There's some weak spin on the Turtle River area here. This is the northern part, north on 71, north and just northeast of the Bemidji area. What's moving into the 10 strike area and just off to your east? The greens and the reds are a long ways apart, so the spin or the rotation is very, very broad. It's still there, but it's very broad. There is a little bit more evidence of some tighter spin here, but it's not really super strong. So some storms with hail threat are continuing to move through and out north of Bemidji, and we'll keep you posted on that. Thank you, Megan. I appreciate you for your kind words. And thank you. Here's your watch. Okay, so if you are wondering, this line of storms here has prompted the National Weather Service, along with the Storm Prediction Center, to issue a severe thunderstorm watch for the metro, not the metro area of the Twin Cities. That's excluded. And what we're including the Little Falls area, St. Cloud area. This is a thunderstorm, not a tornado watch. This is a severe thunderstorm watch. And if you're in the Twin Cities area, hello, I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. I've been forecasting here in the Northern Plains for 26 years as a meteorologist, as a college level meteorology instructor and adjunct professor. And it's wonderful to visit at length with you about the threats that are taking place in our region tonight. So from Bemidji, where we have severe storms, we've had rotating storms in northeast parts of North Dakota. There is spin and shear in the atmosphere here. What's moving in this direction is going to be more of a linear threat tonight. The risk for tornadoes is not super duper high. It's lower. The reason being is some of the spin in the atmosphere associated with this storm is stronger up here, but the lift and the energy in the atmosphere isn't as strong. Back here, we have temperatures in the 60s. Here, we have 80s. Do we have any 90s? It's 84 north of the cities. It's 86 in the metro area of Minneapolis, St. Paul right now. So there is some significant heat going on out in the Twin Cities. There's significant moisture. Dew points are in the 60s. That means the air is a lot like the air you can wear down in the south, okay? So it's very sticky, and that means there's a lot of energy in the atmosphere. We may see more counties added to this a little bit later. We'll see, but in our neck of the woods, this is what we're dealing with right now. And Brenda, thank you for your report. Thanks for sharing, Keisha, and tagging friends on this. It really does help others get the word out. If you're in Roseau County, severe thunderstorm warning showing some pretty tight rotation. Real good on the weather. Hey, thank you so very much, Carolyn. I sure appreciate that so much. Thanks for tagging a friend, Kyla. All right, let me check out my channel on here on YouTube as well. 3,700 thunderstorm tops in Bemidji. Michael, thank you very much. There's some towering thunderstorms. I think a couple have surpassed that at times. You're right. These are tall thunderstorms. And that's not the tallest we can get either. We can get 50 to 60,000 foot cloud tops up here. Down in the deep south, they can get it even more. Deborah from Aurora, Illinois, thank you for watching. Let's take a look at what's going on. We do have this continued tornado warning for a huge area. This is the boundary waters in Canada. This is from Environment Canada on the Canadian side of the border, north of Baudette. So if you are in the boundary waters up there, please know that we got some pretty nasty storms up there. And probably the best rotation I've seen on radar, even though it's far away, is on this storm right now in and around the Roseau area. So we'll take you into that one right quick. And I'm going to go north to south. See how wide this is getting here? It's not likely that we have a thunderstorm that's 10 miles wide that the entire thing is rotating, but this is probably what this looks. I'll bet the pictures that you would share with me of this storm, if you did, would have one of those mothership appearances, dark leading edge, a low scraping cloud toward the ground. That's what it looks like on the radar to me. It is a rotating thunderstorm, and it's going to be capable of a tornado. The tornado potential is greatest right here. It has weakened a bit from what I was showing you earlier, but it's not zero. So this one does have a risk of making a tornado. It's east of Roseau, and it's crossing the Highway 11 corridor now with the rotation. It's just making its way to the Highway 11 corridor. So here's the spinning part of the storm. More tight spin right here. This is extending outwards. So we got this broad area of rotation. So a big rotating thunderstorm. This is an outflow. That outflow is surging, some ridiculous winds aloft. And when I last checked, these winds were near 80 miles per hour. What are we getting now? This is above the ground now. This isn't what is hitting the ground. But some of this energy can be mixed down groundward and toward the ground. 50 to 60 mile per hour gusts are now measured. I saw 70 pop up. So I'm going to stick with it. I think 70 mile per hour greater winds will be possible, mixing down to the ground from this storm as hail cores collapse out of it. This one's going to be a windy and damaging storm. The winds will come at you from the southwest. So if I draw a line right now on the leading edge of the wind or the gust front right here, boom, and this is at the high levels of the cloud. Down on the ground, this may already be approaching the War Road area. Okay, so this is a pretty nasty storm. Do you want to see it? I do. Let's look at Highway 11. Let's look at the Minnesota DOT cams. And again, some of these are pointed directly at the road surface, so that doesn't help me, but let's show you what's going on in real time. Let's do it now. Here's a look at the area impacted by the storm. There's Salal right there. I'm going to get rid of this out of the way. Let's pop this up and show you what we're seeing working its way towards Salal. I hope I got more camera views. There we go. That lens is a little dirty or spotted with rain. Oh my goodness. There it is. So if you look, okay, I'm going to move this view down. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. I got to adjust the view that you can see on the screen. I'm going to move this down and then I'm going to move it up. Okay, because we want to see the sky on Hutch's weather in summer, not the roads. The road surface, wonderful to look at once we get into winter. Okay, now let's see here. Where am I? Don't care. I'm going to just go ahead and point to the end of the road and the cars. Yeah, I do. I care. Let's see. I am going to come back to this in a second. Give me a second while I load something up. I'm going to go back to the Minnesota roads, and I want to point at something here. So that's what I'm doing. And there I am. I popped onto your screen. Okay. This is what I want to show you. We're going right back into Roseau County. We're going right back to Salem. We got another camera there that will have ability to show you a picture of. This has some dark and ominous skies on it, and it has a lowering cloud base that I wanted to show you, and it's behind my melon. So I'm going to do this. See this area right here? This is Highway 11. This is near Salem. And we have a tornado. Nope, severe thunderstorm warning. Okay, so here we go. That darkening and lowering of the cloud that's evident, and it's right above my head. I'm going to do this. Just this little lowering right here. Can't get my hand to work. There we go. So that's it. That's a lowering of the cloud base. That is called a wall cloud. Now that's what's blowing towards you. Not sure what we're getting for wind speeds, but right now the storm winds in War Road are about 10 knots, and they're moving from the south. 72 is your temperature. You're nice and warm and summer-like on this June day. That's a look from Salem. Let's see if we got another view of the storm. That's more road surface, and that's a look to the opposite direction that the storm is in. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for watching on YouTube as well. I appreciate the likes, and I'm looking for your questions too. I appreciate those of you nationwide that are watching. Is Kansas going to have anything? It sounds bad out. So scared. Wolf Dog, let's talk a little bit about that in a moment. All right, here we go. Wind speeds with this storm still showing up to be very stout, very strong. We're going to look at one more camera in the area, and that's going to be this one from Roosevelt. This is far away, but there's a chance if we got a sky view here that we may be able to see the edge of the cloud. Okay, this is looking in the correct direction. So this is the ominous cloud that's blowing your way. Doesn't necessarily have that mothership appearance to it that I was expecting to see yet, but it maybe isn't close enough. Another thing to tell with these thunderstorms, look at these these storm bases look pretty high up in the sky, but as that leading edge approaches you, it's going to get darker and darker, and the clouds will get lower and scrape the ground. So that's what we're looking at in that area of Minnesota. This is working its way towards you folks in War Road. Let me give you a quick estimate of the timeline of when it will be in your area. And here we go with a look at the reflectivity, and here, that's the gust front. Let's go to the reflectivity and the hail and rain. Okay, so there's your gust front. There's the leading edge of the rain aloft, and it's blasting or blowing its way in towards War Road right now. So the hail core aloft is working its way in your general direction, and it is only 7 miles away from town. Okay, so let's take a look at the expected motion of the storm moving northeast into the War Road area. And if you are on Lake of the Woods, there is a very gusty thunderstorm that's going to be moving over the lake that means some serious business. Up to 1 inch diameter hail possible from this cell. We cannot rule out a tornado with this cell as well. And the general reason for that is the fact that there's some rotation. This is the outflow, though. This is an outflow dominant part of the storm here. You're getting some strong wind potential in these areas. I'm going to continue to keep it moving at 35 miles per hour. It means it's going to be in War Road with that hail core, if you will. Let me see if I can move this down. It wouldn't stay in about 13 minutes. So if we look at that, we'll be about 10 minutes away at 19, about 22 after the hour here. It'll be in and around the War Road area. So gusty straight line wind is going to be the main threat to that. I think it certainly could be over 60 miles per hour. Thank you, Teresa. Let's see, somebody asking about Minnesota going to get it or not. It's not going to Illinois. Yep, it doesn't look like it. Let's see. Probably take a while to get to Illinois, but Wisconsin, certainly there. All right, let's take a look at your comments here on Facebook. Thank you on YouTube for the likes and the subscriptions. Okay, there was spin above the atmosphere above Bemidji a half hour ago. Bonnie, thank you very much. Thief River Falls is watching. Thank you very much. War Road, Roseau, storm, showing some signs of rotation, moving toward the big lake. If you have friends on the lake today in War Road and on the lake on toward the Angle Inlet, this is a large and windy cluster of storms that's blowing your way, and it is spinning. Let's take a look at other locations here now. Yeah, look at the watch. They've extended it all the way north now to International Falls for this whole line that's developing here. So as other National Weather Service offices looked at it and Duluth says, yep, we're going to issue it for these counties, it's a narrow band of counties, right? these are huge counties, by the way, that has a severe thunderstorm watch. That's what the yellow indicates on Hutch's map here. Grand Rapids, 82. Behind the storm in Bemidji, and in Park Rapids, it's in the 60s. Walker, you got a big one near Leech Lake. We were analyzing that a moment ago. There could be some hail, sizable hail and gusty winds with that storm. The main threats are going to be huge hail with these storms because of the humidity and energy in the atmosphere out here, and gusty straight line winds that exceed 70 miles per hour. We'll go ahead and see if I can read the time frame on this. If you're in the Brainerd Lakes area, that's Hutch's old stomping grounds. I went to high school there in Brainerd there for a short while before I moved to Denver and went to high school there. So let's take a look at what the Weather Service says. The watch is in effect until 8 o'clock tonight. That means we're expecting these storms to very, very slowly work their way through. Models that I looked at earlier had these zipping out of the area by around 5 to 6 p.m. So that's interesting. It's an interesting change. 65 mile per hour winds and 1.5 inch diameter hail are the main threats. Those are the primary threats. Let's see if there's any other threats. Severe thunderstorm. This is a meteorologist's tagline. Severe thunderstorms can and occasionally do produce tornadoes. There is a risk for tornadoes in central and eastern Minnesota tonight, but it's not, I don't believe, as great as the activity that we've seen up in the north tonight. So, or this afternoon, I should say. It's not tonight. Carol, thank you so much. Local weather just said penny hail and 60 mile per hour wind possible in Beltrami County. All right, let's take a look at Beltrami County. We just came from there, but we'll go right back. Now, the storms that are making their way out of the area, look at this. The strongest storms are in the eastern reaches of the county. If you're in Black Duck, if you're in 10 Strike, if you're anywhere on the Highway 71 corridor here, these storms are approaching you. If you're on the eastern shores of the lower Red Lake area, Shotley, and I bet you Ponema, seeing those, Waskish, they're just south of you, moving towards you in Waskish. Look at your temperature. Hard to believe. It's 82 degrees in Waskish right now. Here's the leading edge. This storm's going to blast through. Your wind direction's going to change, and it's going to basically give you a chance for some hail up in that area as well. So penny-sized hail, maybe nickel-sized hail as well. As I look at the storm cell here and what's being calculated by the Doppler radar, moving northeast 26 miles per hour, there's an 80% chance of hail, but not severe hail. So we're talking smaller hail size potential from that particular cell, upwards of about pennies. That's what it looks like to me. We still have the Roseau War Road storm moving through. What are you seeing there? Let me know. Only a few sprinkles in Bagley. That's good news, isn't it? Okay. Reports of danger near Skyme area. Okay, Tara, I'd love if you would expand on that. Skyme down here as we look down to the south. There are some storms kind of working their way up into southern Lake of the Woods County too. So all of these areas now are going to see some stout thunderstorms. But where you see Thief River Falls and Red Lake Falls now, I've been saying this, once your wind shifts to the west, your risk of severe is going to drop dramatically. Okay, so keep that in mind. That'll be your indication. Walk outside your door. If the wind hits you in the face from the west, that's good. Don't walk outside your door and let wind hit you in the face in the line of these thunderstorms, because they could be packing some 70 mile per hour winds. Wilmer, strong storms there. Strong storms in the Motley area right now, it looks like. Is that Motley? Staples? Yep. Okay, so stout thunderstorms in Todd County. They're also making their way through the Browerville area out here. These are moving east. If you loop them, you can kind of get this feel for them drifting slowly off. The whole line is really, really slowly moving. So that's why this watch is in effect until 8. We have this line developing, and it's fairly stationary. And now let me take a look at the forecast with you. It's 2 o'clock. 2:16 Central Time. Storms in North Dakota have been severe. Hail, gusty winds. There have been tornado warnings, so I've been walking you through that. Strong and rotating storms with very gusty wind potential now moving towards War Road. These line of storms developing in central Minnesota will bring the greatest risk of severe as we head into the late evening hours. Hail and wind will be the main threats from those storms. Let's go ahead and pull up right here on the model guidance. Give me a moment while I load up the latest model. We're going to look at the very latest. I'm going to pop up the hourly updated model and just double check that it's in. Let's see how much of it is in. All of it's in. Most of it's in. This is a new model, so we'll go ahead and take a look at it. I think these storms are going to be out of the area by 6 o'clock at night, but we'll see. Okay, here's our forecast. We have storms now that are forming in the 2 o'clock hour here. And as we step through time, by the time we get now this says 4 o'clock, but this is now. So the model's a little behind the times here, okay? It has a continued threat for nasty, and I think the best chance at any spinning storms will be in the far north. Down here, more linear. Any of these isolated cells that form down south, you never know, kind of the end of a whip, if you will. Those might have a better chance to have a little bit more spinning energy if things work out right with a southerly flow into them. As we step through time tonight between 4 and 6 p.m., boom, we still see the risk of storms here as we go into 6 o'clock tonight. Minneapolis, that's when they start firing and moving in towards your area. Mason City, Iowa as well. These storms will work into Duluth by the time we cross into the 8 o'clock hour and they're out of the watch area. So I do think this whole line will accelerate. These west winds we have coming in behind the storms will help to drive it out. As the storms form and develop, they will accelerate just a little bit, as is often the case. Wind and hail will be the main threat. Des Moines, Iowa, those storms will be moving into your area by the time we get to between 6 and 10 o'clock tonight. So again, the I-35 corridor between Rochester and Des Moines will get a bunch of storms. Somebody was asking about Kansas, and we'll go ahead and pop back here. There are no watches yet, but we have a whole bunch of warnings in central Kansas for severe storms. Those storms will be gliding towards Topeka, Manhattan, and as we look off towards the area of Kansas City, they'll be heading into there as well. So strong, stout storms heading towards Kansas City. Here is Kirksville, Missouri, Hutch's first full-time broadcasting job, Kirksville, Missouri. And that's where I started out. And you can have some mean storms up there. Count on storms at night to be in your area. Look at the trend, though. The trend is for a linear line of storms. That means to Hutch, gusty winds will be the main threat. And then they do taper off in intensity as we go toward the wee hours of the morning. But not in Joplin and Springfield. Those look south. Again, that southern flank tends to steal the energy away. So that kind of keeps drifting south, particularly in the nighttime nocturnal storms. Now, as we look at Texas and the deep south, the threat for severe weather did spread into Oklahoma. Here's when things fire there, according to this model. Dinner time. If you're chewing on a steak in Wichita, storms could be starting central time, 6 o'clock. Oklahoma City, central Oklahoma will be the chance for some firing storms tonight. We will see those storms congeal in Kansas, but be more isolated in Oklahoma, which could lead to a risk for some. Well, when storms are isolated, they get all the energy. So we'll be watching the threat for you, Oklahoma City, out towards Tulsa as these storms work their way towards the east as we go through the late night hours. Do you see that look, that blasting look? That's outflow. That becomes an outflow dominant storm as we cross into the overnight. And this could bring some serious wind gust potential to the deep south and eastern reaches of Oklahoma. So Fort Smith, as you go out towards Bella Vista in Arkansas and south, that blast of wind could head down towards Texarkana. And look at this, Dallas, Fort Worth, you're not far from it, but a better chance in the Denison area. Even this computer-generated model is showing this outflow boundary from this very windy line of storms. Could we have a big wind event for Texas tonight, overnight, and into your morning hours? This is 5 a.m., This model says yes. Where are the storms in the Central Plains heading through Springfield, moving into Illinois? And as you mentioned, you're watching from Aurora. The chance of those storms making their way towards you are pretty low. So here is a summary. And again, we'll turn our attention back to the northern plains here. Active severe thunderstorm warning on the international border, believe it or not. It's moving into Canada, believe it or not. And we do have that active tornado warning still showing up on Hutch's radar here. That's been the longest tornado warning in a long time, but the line of storms is moving out. I'm going to switch back to radar now as we get back to the coverage of our active storms here in the northern plains. Okay, again, I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. I really do appreciate your trust and information that you're sharing with me. Have family near Montevideo and Benson. What is the risks down there? Benson, the risk is going to be shifting out of the Benson area. It's moving now more in towards Wilmer. So that's one thing to keep in mind. There's still showers and storms, but the risk of severe is shifting off to the east. Okay, I think I'm ready to switch back to the radar locally here. We're still expecting that risk for some quarter-sized hail from the storm in Roseau County. That's your lead in back to the coverage for you. And then I will, after the cancellation of this last warning in our immediate viewing area here in western Minnesota and the Red River Valley of North Dakota, I'll take a little bit of a break and grab a snack and a beverage because my coffee cup is all but empty. And it's cold. I need an office coffee maker. That's what I'm going to do. All right. War Road, the storm is blasting through your area. It has this backward C shape to it. Wind, the main threat with this storm. It is a long ways away from the radar. It's moving right over the lake now. So as I've mentioned before, if you have anybody out on Lake of the Woods that you know of, get them off the lake. There's a very windy thunderstorm out here. It looked like it had potential for wind gusts upwards of 70 miles per hour as it was moving along the Highway 11 corridor. I have my reports turned on, and I don't see that I've seen any peak gusts from that. There's just Environment Canada. Environment Canada has just issued severe thunderstorm warnings for this entire area for gusty winds likely. So if you're in the Sprague area and you're up here in the northern Angle Inlet area, and if you're by Marmouth Lake area, if you're up here near Sundown to Vassar, Badger also, that's Badger parts of Manitoba there, not Badger in Roseau County, Minnesota. This area all placed in a severe thunderstorm warning from Environment Canada. But again, Lake of the Woods is going to be under the threat. Call in your friends and let them know on the boat to get off the lake. It's not a fun place to be. Temperature's still 70 in War Road, but it is in the 60s in Roseau and Hallock right now. Again, once your wind becomes westerly, your risk of severe weather goes way, way down. Okay. Severe storms are working their way, strong storms, I should say, right now are working their way through eastern parts of Beltrami County. We have a lot of viewers here, Waskish. I'm going to take you right to Waskish right now. Let's see what you got going on. On this Black Duck to Waskish, we do have some very stout storms just moving into Waskish. So if you're on the eastern shores of the Red Lakes, these storms are exiting your area now. What does it look like? Let's take you to the Minnesota Department of Transportation and have a look-see, shall we? Okay, here we go. And I'm still going. It takes me a while to find the right thing to click on. My eyes are going a little bit goofy on me here. Been looking at the computer a little too long. South of Bagley, we see a vehicle has been crashed. Let's go to Waskish now and look at what's going on here. What can we see from the north east shores of the upper Red Lake? Look at the raindrops. I think those are not frogs. That's raindrops hitting the pavement there. Huge drops hitting the road. So heavy rain has made its way in. The sky on this frame, very difficult to see. It's a little bit fuzzy there, but the road is looking like it's very, very rainy there. I don't see hail yet, but there is hail potential in and around Waskish as this storm moves in towards your area from your south. What do the storms look like from south of Kelleher near Orr? This is a look at that. Here's the sign, the dark, dark skies working their way. There's the Canadian border off to the right. So you know if you're looking to the right that you're looking off to the east here at those storms and rumblers. There's the road surface. It's not icy and it's not rainy. And we have some delivery of natural gas going on there, it looks like, and some nice colorful skies in that area looking off to the other way. Do I have any other storm cameras that I can show you what's going on? How about you in the area of Baxter, Brainerd? Let's take care of you. You got some strong storms. You're going to watch. Let's see what those storms look like. See if I can get into the Motley area down here. All right, very good. Where is the crash? That's a good question, Carol. Let me see. There's a couple of them. South of Bagley, right here, we've got us a little bit of an incident that's going to be near Minerva, south of Bagley by just a few miles, and that is a stalled vehicle. The lane is blocked. There is another incident over here on Highway 2 east of Bemidji, and that is between, it looks like Ferris and by Grace Lake. What is that? That is an eastbound crash on Highway 2. That's your traffic update. Traffic and weather together only on Hutch's Weather. Okay, enough with that. Let's get down and a little bit closer to the Brainerd Lakes area. Here's Frazee, and here we go. Okay. Wow, look at all of these cameras we get down here. There's so many cameras. This is very helpful. Let's look at the big lake up here by Lake. Okay. This is 371. This is be north of town. Are the skies dark? We can see the roads. Skies are darkening. There's some real dark ones up by Nisswa Lake on 371. Here is a look at what's moving in a little bit farther to the west. Here's Motley. Okay. Okay, there we go. We could see the sky's not so dark there, but when we look off to basically to the west of you in Motley, a line of storms is making its way in, not far from the Staples area right now. So again, as I zoom in on your radar view, we have Staples and Motley seeing storms between the two areas, and those are moving towards Motley. Are they severe? No, not at this time, but there's some very gusty winds and some hail potential with these cells as they work their way through. Carol, thank you for asking the questions. Fat Rain, says Simon, thanks so much. And I think we've covered most of the storms here. Let me get the radar. There are no active warnings left, so Hutch is going to take himself a little lunch break here. The severe risk is rapidly moving off to this watch area here. When your wind shifts and your wind becomes westerly, that's it for the severe weather threat for your area. We still may have some gusty winds from the west-northwest. If you're behind this line of storms, evidently that's going to be the case. But even what we're seeing in most of Roseau County now is just huge rain. Maybe some drawing down of some very gusty winds will continue after the storms move through. We have another batch of storms developing in the northwestern corner of Beltrami County right here. This will be moving northward on the Lake of the Woods, Roseau County line. It is not severe. All right, I'm going to fill my cup with coffee. Thanks for the idea, Rita. Fill my coffee cup, rest my eyes. And look at this, an update for our Boundary Waters friends from Environment Canada. The tornado warning has been changed to a severe thunderstorm warning for the same area. That's for this line of storms moving its way here. We can't see much else. If you're in Brainerd, if you're in Motley, if you are in St. Cloud, the risk of severe weather is there for you tonight. Wind, gusty winds to 70 miles per hour, hail upwards of 1.5 inches in diameter possible. We have some backside system rain here, Ellendale to Lemoore. Not a risk of severe with these storms. There is not the risk of rotation with those storms. I will double check my words before I say them emphatically. There is some motion away from the Mayville radar here, and that's motion toward the radar, but this is rolling air, rolling on a horizontal tube like this, not spinning air like a tornado. So the risk of tornadoes is not great, and the severe weather risk is extremely low once your wind shifts to the west. Meteorologist Hutch Johnson, I sure do appreciate your support. I appreciate you putting up with me grabbing content and trying to bring it to you. I think we've covered our severe weather risk through most of our viewing area here, all the way to the edge of Beltrami County, where that risk of strong thunderstorms continues, but we have not had a severe thunderstorm warning in that area for some time. So with that news, Roseau County, the warning is continuing for your area here. We'll plot this on your screen until moving northeast 45 miles per hour. It's in effect until 2:30. That's now. So in all likelihood, that warning is going to be dropped. Oh, just fell off the screen. The storm has exited the warned area. It's still blowing out of the War Road area, heading onto the Big Lake. If you are on the Big Lake, you may get a warning for some windy storms in northern parts of Lake of the Woods County. Expect gusty straight line winds over the lake from the west from these storms. There is still some evidence of some spin and shear with this storm as it works its way out over the northern reaches of the lake. And this is going to be up north. Okay, so in the northern reaches of Lake of the Woods, I expect very gusty winds. Get your friends off the lake. Let them know that they have strong storms there. I'll be back as needed. I'll have a forecast update later this afternoon. You've been watching Hutch's Weather. Thanks for your follows here on Facebook. If you're watching from YouTube, thank you for watching from across the nation. And I appreciate your likes and subscriptions on the YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button and hit the like button there. Thanks so much. Have a restful afternoon. I'll continue to monitor skies in our area as rain will gradually exit from west to east this afternoon.